Here. All right, very good. Okay, so when we have our Zoom meetings, I'll try to remember to record them and then place them in the virtual office. So you should be able to see them in there anytime that we have a meeting. So if by chance you have to miss a meeting, then look there. It's better if you're able to attend the meeting in person because then it gives you the opportunity to ask questions. Put me on the spot, and that's okay. I appreciate that. So welcome everybody. It's the first day of your new class, and hopefully it's the last class that you have, which is really good. All of you have worked very hard to get this far, and so hopefully this will be the crowning touch. Now, your last course, spd695, that was kind of a tough course. You had a lot of work to do. I apologize. This is 695. I teach so many classes, sometimes I get mixed up. This is the next to the last class that you folks have. Okay, so this 8 weeks that we have, we have a lot to do. Okay, and then your next class, 696, and I teach some sessions of 696, so I know the ins and outs of both of the classes. So this one is where we do all the heavy duty lifting, so to speak. So we're going to do a lot of work here, and it'll get you prepared for what you're going to do in 696. So that is good. Okay, now let's see. Here we go. All right, everybody, let's see. There we go. Didn't realize that they had a bunch of folks waiting in the waiting room there. So let's see here. All right, so let's see. Abigail, are you able to do a big favor for me?
Sure.
Okay, can I make you co-host so that you can let ones into the class as they come to the door there?
Yes.
Okay, I will do that right now.
Okay.
All right. So does it show up now that you're the co-host?
Yes, it did.
Okay, excellent. So then your job then is just to let ones in as they come in.
Okay.
All right, thank you so much. Because
No problem.
sometimes when I'm talking, I don't see the ones that are trying to get in. So this works out great. Okay, so like I was saying, 695, there's a lot of work to do. If you've had a chance to look over the class, you'll see there are many writing assignments, and they may sound and look a little bit scary, but once you understand what's required on these, it won't be that difficult. One of the nice things about the course is that we have a very extensive syllabus. Now, if you look at your course and you look up toward the top, there's a button there that says syllabus. Well, that's not the syllabus that I'm talking about. Okay. The syllabus I'm talking about is if you'll click on week number 1, and then go down to where it says syllabus and week by week requirements, then you should see that there are 2 files there. One says syllabus part 2 and the other is syllabus part 1. So the part 2 that says weekly schedule, that's the one that you want to download and probably print so that you have that ready at your hand. Okay, let's see here. I think I can share that so that you can see what I'm talking about. All right, so do you see week number 1 up there on the screen now? Okay, good. So you'll see here where it says syllabus and week by week requirements. So the part 2 is what you want to download and you want to print out. And that is going to contain all of the assignments for the whole class. Okay, so this is what you're going to look at anytime that I mention the syllabus. This is the document that I am working with. And so you'll see that it's 18 pages long. So if you print single side, it's 18. If you print up back to back, then it's considerably less paper. So it's up to you how you want to download that. But I would highly recommend that you download that and have that ready. Put a big staple in it. So anytime you need to refer to it, it's there. Sometimes you'd be in the middle of writing a paper and you're wondering, okay, how was I supposed to do this one part? And then you can go back to it and see what the requirements are. So pretty much nothing is left to the imagination here. We help you, we guide you along the way so that if you're not understanding something, if you can't make out what it is here in the syllabus, please reach out to me and I will help you in any way that I can. Now just keep in mind that I'm in Florida, so I'm 3 hours ahead of you guys. So if you try to call, keep that in mind, because if you call me, say at 10 o'clock at night to ask a question, well, that's 1 o'clock in the morning for me, and I'm likely in bed by that time. And I won't call you at 8 o'clock in the morning my time, because you're probably asleep at that time. So email is probably the best solution. And I get back to my email messages every day, so you don't have to worry about that. In fact, sometimes I surprise people by answering back, within 5 minutes. It all depends. If I'm in the, if I'm on the internet, if I'm doing anything on the internet, if your message pops up, I'll usually stop what I'm doing and take a look at it. But if I'm not on the internet at that time, then I will see your message when I come back on. Okay, so you'll see that there's 8 weeks. So each week has its own assignments. And you're going to find that in the printed syllabus that you're going to have instructions. For example, you have week 1, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there are assignments each week. There's written assignments. 1 week you won't have a long written assignment. Just keep in mind these things as they're coming up. Time management is really important for this class because there is so much to do. If you wait until the last day to try to do the assignment, you're likely not going to be able to finish it on time, and then you'll be turning it in late. Okay, if you have an emergency and you need an extension, please let me know before the assignment is due and tell me what your situation is. I'm usually quite flexible, but try not to make it too much of a habit, because the further behind that you get, the less likely that you're going to finish the course on time. I need to give you a little bit of heads up here that 696 follows 695. It begins basically the same, well, the end of the week for week 8, then you get to the very next week, that's 696 starting. If you are not finished with your course by then, you might not be able to start your 696 course. And if if you're delayed by a week or so, then a pretty good chance you won't be able to take 696 right after 695. You might have to wait for 1 month. This could have consequences for your financing. So please keep these things in mind so that you don't run up against the clock and then scratch your head or pull hair out trying to figure out how you're going to get everything done, and so that you can start the next one. So 696 is, it's pretty intense, but it's not nearly as intense as 695. So 695, you're going to learn the nuts and bolts of research, the different kinds of research that are out there, and why research is important to you as a teacher. As a teacher, you're constantly trying to find ways to reach your students to help them to be successful in school. And because we're working with special education, many of the things that we teach our kids help them with their personal lives as well. So keep in mind that even though there's a lot of work, and maybe there's some things here where you're maybe wondering, well, why do I need to know this? Well, just take it all in stride. By the end of the course, you're going to understand why you needed to research each of these styles. Okay, as a teacher, you're constantly doing research. You're watching the kids, you're practicing different strategies. You're writing IEPs. In the IEPs, you're setting goals for the students. But you also need to know how you, as a teacher, are going to help that student reach those goals. So basically, this research is going to be set up like as if it's a big IEP. You're going to have a hypothesis, a research question. In other words, what skill do you want to teach your kids? Okay, how are you going to measure if that skill was successful or not? So just saying, well, I want little Johnny to behave better. Well, is that a measurable skill? Can you measure better? You really can't. It has to be measurable. So you have to have a goal and say, okay, well, little Johnny is not going to have an outburst more than say once a day or once a week, something like that. Something that you can measure so that you can take notes, write down what is happening. A typical skill would be like reading. Okay, so I want little Johnny to be able to read with, say, 80% proficiency on 3 tries of reading a particular book. Okay, you can measure that because you can write down the data as it's occurring. So just make sure that whatever you set as your research question, that it's something that's measurable. And remember that these goals that you're writing, they pertain more to teaching skills. In other words, you want to teach the child something new. Okay, so what is it that you want to teach that child? Okay, how are you going to do it? How are you going to measure whether that goal that you gave was successful or not? Okay, you're going to have pre-data, you're going to have post-data so that you can measure the results. And if you're not able to do that, then you have no idea whether you were successful. So keep that in mind as you're going through. Now, week number 2 is you're going to have some more of the research procedure. Your textbook, your main textbook is Applying Educational Research. And I think you can get that through the university, through the DART program. So check and see if that's available to you. Be a little bit less expensive than buying it on your own. The second book that is required is the APA guidebook. So it's version 7. We no longer use version 6. So we stopped using that in December of 2020. So now we have the 7th edition. And actually, the 7th edition came out in 2020. So it's going to pretty much look like this. You can buy any version that you want. This one is on a ring binder, and it has tabs on the side so that I can look up things easy. So if I make a comment to you, see APA guide, and let's say we're talking about in-text citations, okay, that's going to be chapter 8 or section 8. So I'll refer to the section to you, and then on the side you have the parts of the section that certain things apply to. So for example, if you're trying to figure out whether you should put ellipses in your quotations, then that would be section 8.31. That's just giving you an example. So then you go to section 8 in your APA guide and look at point number 31, and that will give you the information that you need. Okay. Sometimes there'll be quite a few errors as far as citations go, so I might recommend reading the whole section. It's really not that much, that many pages. I think there's a total of about 25 pages in that section. So it's not bad reading. So I will help you in many ways in that regard, pointing out APA requirements. There's a few new things in there. For example, when you're quoting, remember that when you're citing, say, 3 or more authors, the first time that you would cite that author, you would have to include all of the authors. Well, if you have 3 or more now, you can use et al. Right from the very first citation. So that's going to be a nice change. It'll save you a little bit of writing. Another one is your running head. So no longer on the very first page do you have to type the words running head. You just type your title up there at the top, put your page number on there, and you're set to go. And I'll give you some examples of that. Okay, so you'll have a number of things. There's some humorous readings in here to try to break up some of the tension. I know it get a lot of tension trying to get all of these assignments done, but they are doable. And like I say, once you get into the hang of it, it goes pretty smoothly. You'll have some templates to use to follow, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel each time you write a paper. Okay, a very important fact that we need to consider is the CITI training. That's IRB training. Okay, it's a requirement for this class and next. So when you do that training, make sure that you save your certificates. Save them on your hard drive or print them out in paper, whatever that you want to do. You're going to need to turn in copies of that to me for this class. And then for next class, spd696, you need to upload them again. So whoever your professor is in the next class, he needs to see proof that you did that city training. Okay. All right. So That's pretty much self-explanatory. So you'll have some lectures each week. You'll have some learning activities. Week 2 says there's no assignment due, but that's really not true because you have to turn in your city training by that time. But you can get it done ahead of time, and that's okay. You're going to have a discussion forum. Okay, so you'll just click on the discussion forum. It'll give you a prompt. You respond to that prompt, and then you consider responses of 2 of your peers. It has to be at least 2 of your peers, and then you'll respond to them. It's better not to just say, hey, great post, I enjoyed reading about it, talk to you later. See, that's not really talking about the post. So tell the person what you liked about the post, maybe ask some questions, and make the questions reflective, because they're not going to answer you back, but give some reflective questions, rhetorical questions, and make it clear how their response, what they're reading, is affecting you. And then always it's good to to post encouraging comments. Okay, and then week number 3. Then you're going to have your single subject research method. So like I say, everything is posted here and also in the syllabus that you print out. Okay, for number 3, you're going to have a live library session that should be on Tuesday between 6:30 and 7:30 p.m. So you're going to click on the first link here and follow the directions. And then for part 2, then you're going to click on the next one. Okay, and then follow the prompts there. And then you're going to actually be contacting the library, the National University Library. This is a 10-point paper. So make sure that you read this carefully and then go to the links there. And there's a recording, and then you're going to have a Zoom meeting with one of the librarians. And that's where you can ask questions. For example, I'm having trouble trying to find enough information on my research question. What do I do? See, that's an excellent time to ask questions like that. So it says if you miss the session, then you need to contact the librarian to provide you with a recorded link to the missing session. And then I think that he or she will give you about 10 minutes to answer any specific questions. And we found that this particular assignment is extremely helpful. And many students say that they wish that they had that as an assignment for the very first course that they took with National University, because it would have saved them a tremendous amount of time in doing their personal research. So this is going to be helpful, because that's basically 90% of the work that you're doing in this course is the actual research, and then writing about it. Okay, so you'll have some discussion there. Then you'll have your week 3 assignment. There's a template there for your mixed article analysis. Your discussion, you'll have another prompt there to follow. So please go ahead and follow the prompts. Okay, and you're welcome to contact the librarians anytime you have an issue with trying to locate an article. They'll be more than happy to help you. But just keep in mind that they are not taking the course, so they don't exactly know what the requirements are. But they'll give you some guidance. They'll make some suggestions for you as how to use the library effectively. And one thing that I found very effective is that if I type in a question, or type in some keywords, if I'm not getting many responses, then I need to modify what I'm looking for. For example, maybe I don't get enough responses to a particular query. Then I can change that query a little bit, maybe add a couple words to it, and then try again. And then that may make a big difference in the number of hits that you get. I highly recommend that you do not use Google for your searches. Okay, Google doesn't know what you need in an academic sense. National University does know what you need in an academic sense. So you're more likely to get something that's helpful to you by sticking with the National University Library. So again, just follow those prompts. So in the paper syllabus, then it's going to go into more detail. So there's not much detail in here. Okay, it gives you just some basics, and kind of like an overview. But in your printed syllabus, then it's going to be a lot more specific. It's going to give you a lot more details. So what you see here, weeks 1 through 8, remember that's just an overview. But if you really want to get into what's required for the assignment, then you want to look at the paper syllabus that you downloaded. Okay. And then I'm in the process of trying to get some examples. I'll post some examples. They won't be perfect, but it'll give you an idea of what we're looking for in the assignments. So I'll try to get those posted in time for you. Are there any questions at this point?
I had a question.
Sure, go right ahead.
For our Zoom sessions, do we have one every week at this time?
It's not going to be every single week because everything is pretty well spelled out. But if we come across a situation where quite a few of you are not understanding something, then we can have a Zoom meeting for that week. Okay, I don't get very many requests for additional Zoom meetings, but if something comes up that's really important, then I'll go ahead and have a Zoom meeting.
Okay, so you'll let us know if we're gonna have another one?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I'm kind of figuring that probably for the signature assignment that we might need to cover some points there. The way it's written in the syllabus here is a little bit confusing. So I'm going to try to clean up that and see if I can get it so that it's more understandable. There's 2 parts to that signature assignment. One is a synthesis of the articles that you gather. And then there's a actual summary of each of the articles. So it's 2 parts. And so it can be confusing. So I want to be able to go over that with you and explain that. Once you see what's needed in it, it's a piece of cake. Okay. So any other questions at this point?
I have a question about the CITI training.
Yes.
Can we do that over the course of a few days, or does it have to be, we open it and we got to do it until it's done?
Well, you can, if I'm not mistaken, you can get out of the course and then go back to it again. But I would read the instructions once you get into the website. Read those directions there and see what it tells you.
All right,
I can
thanks.
tell you that you'll be a lot more successful if you can just work through it and get it all done as quickly as you can, because then you'll have information that you can go back to answer the other questions. The requirement to pass that city is 80%. So each segment, you'll get a grade on each segment, and the overall score has to be 80%. You can take the segments over again if you don't pass a segment. So you're not going to be locked out of the course if you have wrong answers. Okay, if you get the 80%, you're done. If you want to shoot for 100, that's fine. You're allowed to do that. Okay, that was a good question. Thank you. Okay, any other questions? Okay, if you have a question as I'm going through this, just go ahead and chime in. All right. I can't see your hands from looking at what's on the shared screen. You guys are put into like thumbnails. Yeah, so if you put your hand up, I probably won't be able to see it. Okay, so I'm going to stop the sharing for just a second here, and I'm going to share a different screen. I want to go over some elements of Microsoft Word. I know that most of you are very proficient in it, which is good, but sometimes you can learn things in Word, maybe not learn them the right way, and they're kind of like a thorn in your side as you're going through course after course and trying to figure out how to fix things. One common thing, one common complaint that I get is that when papers are uploaded to Blackboard, that on the paper that they have on their screen in front of them, it's formatted a certain way, it looks perfect. But then when they upload it to Blackboard, the formatting is off. And so there's pretty much a simple fix to that. But if you don't know what it is, then you keep getting frustrated. Go back in, try to change this, try to change that, and it's not changing the format as it shows up in Blackboard. So we'll cover some of that, and we'll look at things to make the appearance of the paper look a little bit better. All right, so let me, all right, here we go. All right, so do you see the paper here? It says teaching social emotional awareness and self-regulation. Are you able to see that screen okay? Anybody not seeing it?
Yeah.
Okay, who is not seeing it? Okay. All right, so here's a typical title page. Now, I took the name of the student off, but there's a couple of things that are missing on this particular page. Now, they had the student's name was in there, so I took it out. This is one of the elements that has to be on your title page is the student name. And then, of course, either National University or Sanford College of Education, not Stanford. Sanford, just take the T out. The title of the course is spd695, Understanding Educational Research. And then the professor's name and the month and the year of the class. So in this case, you're not going to put the date that you're turning the paper in. So this course is starting March 2021. So on each of the papers, the title papers that you're going to turn in will say March 2021. Okay.
Excuse me, Professor, can I ask a question as you're going through this?
Sure.
I know you said you would upload some examples, so will you upload this, or do we need to remember everything that you're going through right now or take notes on this?
Yeah, I would take some notes on this. You can always come back to the video. I don't know if I'm going to use this particular paper as the example for this or not. So yes, it'd be a good idea. Take a few notes, but just remember you can go back and look at the video and go through these steps again.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Now over here on the left side, you'll see a word that says Grammarly. Now that's a software program that helps with grammar issues. It's free. You go to grammarly.com. And if you put that on your computer, then as you're writing, it will help you to understand certain grammar errors that you might be making. It will give you some suggestions. Be aware that sometimes there'll be false negatives, just like any other program. So it tries to figure out from the tone of the paper that you're writing how it should be looking at your style, spelling, punctuation, things of that nature. But it's not always going to be 100%. But this is a good way of keeping your paper pretty clean, because as we go through the paper here, you're going to see a lot of comments pop up in here. All right, so what's one thing that you see that's missing here on this title page? Just go ahead and shout it out, because I can't see your hands.
The header.
Okay. Yeah, the running head. Okay, so that should go up here at the top, right? So we're going to figure out how to put that into the paper. Okay, now.
I got a question about that.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
No,
In APA 7 for student papers, they don't do a running head. Are we treating this as if they were professional papers?
yes, we're treating this as a professional paper.
Okay.
And since we were doing this with the purpose in mind of eventually publishing this in a journal, then we want to get used to the running head. But you are correct, just for standard papers, you do not need the running head. Okay, just keep in mind that for this course and for spd696, you will be needing the running head. Okay. All right, so this is the way we're going to do it. But before I do that, I have to make sure that I have the right number of characters to put up here in that running head. So how many characters do I need in the running head? It's 50. So that you take your title, count how many characters you have. That includes spaces, punctuation, things like that. So in this title here, I counted 55 characters. So this is a tiny bit on the large side. Okay, so I'm going to delete that 55 because it served its purpose. And I'm going to figure out how can I cut this down so that that it'll meet that requirement. Any ideas? Any suggestions?
Chop off the last 5 characters?
Yeah, that would be the easy thing, but then that's going to make this a little bit awkward as a running head.
Remove teaching?
Yeah, you can maybe cut three characters out there. Teach social emotional awareness and self-regulation. So we could do that. That would eliminate 3. So I still have to get rid of 2 more.
Change the and to the sign, the, what's it called? The,
Ampersand.
thank you.
Yeah, there we go. So if I change the and to the ampersand, now I've got 50 characters exactly. Okay, so does that make sense? So you can modify this just a tiny bit. Now, if you had a title that was 2 lines long, that title obviously is too long. And APA doesn't like that. APA will tell you how many words and characters a title should have if it's going to be an effective title. So let's try that. I'm going to double click up here at the top to get into that area up there for the header. Okay. And so I'm going to start over on the left side. So I need to go to my page number. If I double click up here, then my ribbon will open up here and I can go ahead and use the page number. So I'm going to click on that. I need that header at the top. So I'm going to go to top of the page. Now I have a choice. I can either do this one, and this one will work just fine. Or if I want to say page 1 of 2, etc., then I can go down here to page X of Y. Either one of those will work. I'll just use this one because it's easier. So I'll click on that and it automatically puts my page number there. Okay, now I will just go ahead and type in my running head. Okay, all right, so I've got that in there. Now, I don't want that one sitting there. That's not where the one should go. The one should go to the right side. So I'm going to leave it right where it is, and I'm going to hit the tab key once, and it moves that page number over. Okay, now it's set. My running head is set. Okay, so now I'm going to go up here and close the header and footer, and now it's up there. Okay, so any questions about that? I know most of you already knew that, but there might be one or two who wasn't aware of how to do that.
Professor, I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
So we no longer type running head on the first page?
Good question. Yeah, that went away after edition 6. So in edition 7, it's no longer required.
Okay, thank you so much.
So that was a good question. Thank you for that. All right, so now we get.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have a dumb question.
No, it's
That's
not a
what I
dumb
specialize in. No, it's gonna be dumb. The page number. So maybe I missed this because I was writing something down. We can format it so that it's on the right. That it's flush to the right. We should not do that.
I would suggest this because it allows you to type in your title, your running head, and then you just hit the tab key to move the page number over.
Okay.
Try it both ways. See which way is easier for you.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Because your method will work also, but sometimes your running head will end up in a different place than where you want it.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So yeah, either way is fine. Just as long as you get that page number over on the right side and your running head on the left side, then you'll be okay. Okay, so we'll go down a little bit and we'll see the abstract. Okay, does anybody see a problem with the abstract? You probably can't read the words, but just take a look at the formatting.
It's double spaced.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's double spaced.
Yeah, it should be double spaced. Yes. Yeah, the abstract must be double spaced. So it is double spaced there.
The first line is indented. It shouldn't be.
That's correct. On the abstract, the abstract is never indented, not in APA. So the way to fix that on this paper is I'll put the cursor right in front of the in, and I'll hit backspace once. Okay. So that took care of that problem. So very, very simple to do. Okay, now it also has keywords on here, which are very important. Sometimes I see papers come in that don't have the keywords. Okay, anybody know why there need to be the keywords there?
Is it for web searching?
Yes. Be for web searching or searching inside of a journal. So this will, if you're looking for articles about social emotional, you type that in your search and you'll get thousands of hits of articles that deal with social emotional. So that's basically what that's for. So you want your journal to be searchable. Also inside the paper itself, when you're online, you can try this. Some sources will allow you to do it. You can click at the top and maybe look for search, see if there's a little magnifying glass that denotes search, and then you can type in a word and it'll take you to where that word appears in the document. That's a time saver, especially you read an article and you like it, and there's a certain part you really, really, really like. You go back to the article, oh man, I've read 10 articles. Where did I see that in this article? So then you can use that little search and locate that word or that idea again quickly. So it can save you literally hours in your research. And you can do that even on articles that you haven't read yet. If you're looking for something in particular, then you can search that in the little search engine that's usually there for journals. And it'll pull up articles that have that keyword in it. Okay. So did you notice over here on the Grammarly side, a lot of suggestions coming up. I'm not going to go into those right now, but I've got the screen kind of minimized. So here in the Grammarly, it's not telling me everything I need to know. But if I click on something like here, common thing for many to write is and or. Okay, it should not be used in academic writing. So the software flags it, lets you know. So then you can change it to something that's a little more acceptable. All right, so we'll go down and then we have our introduction. Okay, now in the papers, sometimes I see this. I'll see this big empty space here. Is there supposed to be a big empty space there? No. There isn't supposed to be any large empty spaces there. And I see right here, it almost looks like there's an extra space, but it's hard to tell. I'm going to show you how to figure that out here in just a few seconds. And as you go down and see too much space here, it should be double space throughout the paper. So as we go down, we'll see that that issue shows up many times in the paper. So in the paper, in the body of the paper, you don't want to have those big spaces. The areas where you want to start on a new page, okay, the title page has to be by itself. The abstract with keywords has to be by itself. The body of the paper, that's as many pages as you need to do the paper. Then the reference section starts on a new page. And any appendices or appendices need to start on a new page. So appendix 1 will start on one page. Appendix 2 will start on another page by itself, etc. Okay, but we don't just arbitrarily just decide, okay, I'm going to put an extra page in here. Don't do that. All right, now I'm going to show you a little tool that is very helpful. I'll come back here to the top. And if you take a look on the ribbon here, if you look right here, you'll see it looks like a little paragraph symbol. Do you see that? Right up here. If I click on that, notice what it does to the page. Shows me where all my keystrokes are. Okay, so you have your backwards paragraph symbol. Okay, that's where you've hit the enter key. So that symbol tells you every place you hit the enter key. Okay, so you can see here there's a lot of times hitting that enter key. Well, there's ways to avoid that, because I'm going to show you something here. Let me I'm going to arbitrarily take some of this out of here. Just going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it up in the page above it. Because I'm going to show you what happens here when you use the enter key to start a new page. Okay. So when I click up here and I put that part of a paragraph in there, watch what happens to the format of the paper. Okay, what happened to the abstract?
It's not at the top of that page anymore.
No, but it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So what happened?
The enters that you hit pushed it down. So instead
That's
of using a
right.
page break, yeah.
Because we didn't take those enter keys out. They're still there. So this is part of the reason why sometimes your papers are going to look a little strange, because something has happened in here, maybe just an extra enter key. If I'm, let's say, right here and I hit the enter key a couple more times, you see how it completely changes the format. So I don't want that to happen. So let me get rid of that, and then I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to get rid of all these enter key marks. And as I do that, you see what's happening to the abstract. Okay, so what I want to do right here, the last line, last character on that title page, I want to hold down the control key and hit enter once. Okay, now what happened to the abstract? Pretty much where it's supposed to be, right? We have one enter key too many here, so I'll get rid of it. Now it's exactly where it's supposed to be. And I know that that page break is there because when I activate this little symbol here, it tells me that there's a page break there. Okay, now if I go ahead and take some more material and put it in there. If I put it above the page break, it adds my text up here, but it didn't change where my abstract starts. So sometimes as you're writing your paper, you'll find that you have to add another sentence or a paragraph to the body of the paper. And if you're just using the enter key all the time to line up your next page that has to start on a new page, then it's going to throw off the formatting for the rest of the paper. So that's why you want to use the page break. So here, if I need to add something, let's say that I'm at the end of a paragraph and I need to add to it, all I have to do is go back to that last word and then just go ahead and add what I need to add. Or if there's a paragraph that say like in here, if I decided that I needed to add some more support, I can click in here and just go ahead and type. And if I have to add some more somewhere else, I can do that. And as long as I have that page break in force, then it's not going to change the format of my paper. In fact, what will happen is that if I get to the end of the page and I still have that page format and I keep typing, then it's going to go to the next page and continue to type. And then when I stop typing, then that page that needed to be on a new page, it's going to be on a new page. Okay, so this is going to be a really big time saver. So you're trying to figure out, why isn't my formatting working? And so this could very well be the reason. All right, so now I see that the introduction, this is the body of the paper. So that needs to be on a new page. So that's where it is right now. But again, if I add anything to the end here, or if I make this longer, then because of the enter key marks, then it's going to push my introduction down. And it's no longer going to be at the beginning of the page. So here again, I want to get rid of those character marks and then just use the page break. Okay, now I'm starting on a brand new page and I still have room so that I can add more up here if I need to. And it will not affect the format of my paper. Okay, so here, remember, if you have this little button activated here, then you can find those extra key marks, those extra strokes in there, and you can get rid of them. You can delete them. But if you don't, see, if the paper looks like this, then you don't know what's in here. You only assume what's in here. But if you activate this, it'll tell you exactly what's in there. And then you can delete those extra ones. Okay. All right. So any questions so far?
I had a question. Can you show me what you use to insert the page break?
Sure. Okay. You see the control key on your keyboard?
Control, yeah.
All right. So you would hold that key down and then hit the enter key once.
When you're in that paragraph mode?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. See, like if I want to put a page break right there, I'm going to hold the control key down, hit enter once. And it gave me a new page break. So now I have two there. I don't need two. So I'm going to go back and delete that. Okay. So was that helpful?
Yes,
Yes, thank you.
Okay, good. So if you're making notes, these are good things to make notes because you're going to use them a lot in your papers. So if you can use shortcuts that make it easier for you to navigate through Microsoft Word, then that's to your benefit. Okay, now I see that there's too much space in here, but if I click down here on the paragraph tool on the ribbon, there's a little arrow right there. So if I click on that, then I can look over here and I see, well, it's double space. So why is there extra space in here? Okay, what'll happen is that if I say click on a word in a line and then go back to paragraph, now what do you see here? I see 10 points after the paragraph. Do you see that? If you have Microsoft Word open on your computer or on your device, you take a look at that. So if either of these numbers is not 0, then you need to make it 0. So I'll click here and put this down to 0. And I'll click. Did you see what happened to research question? Did it move? It had the same amount of space before as right here. But when I did that, let me go back and I'll show it to you again. Apparently it affected this one, so let me try that. Okay, did you see how this one moved? See, now it looks like it's double spaced correctly in here. So let's try that again. We'll click on word there in paragraph. Again, I see 12 points here, so I'm going to change that to 0. And let's see if anything happens there. See, it pulled it up. It got rid of that extra 10 points in there. So I need to do something with this one, I believe. So let me try that one. So, you know, that's set at 10. Microsoft thinks it knows APA, but it doesn't. So Microsoft is who formatted this, put these extra spaces in there. But that it's not APA, so we have to make sure that this works as APA. So you see there how we can change the spacing between the paragraphs. See, that one says 10 again. See, so by changing that, then it pulls us back to double spacing. All right, so how do you work with a paper so that you don't have to go through and change this constantly? You start off with a brand new page and you set it up. So here, okay, the font, what fonts are we supposed to use?
Is it Times New Roman?
Yes, either Arial or Times New Roman. Times New Roman is a good one. And what font size?
I thought it was 14 maybe?
It should be 12.
12? Okay.
Now, if you're writing it for yourself to begin with and you have poor eyesight, you can't see font 12 very well, then you can put it to size 14 or 16. Just remember that when you go to turn it in, that you highlight the whole paper and change that back to 12. Okay. All right, so we've got that set up. It's set for left alignment. So all your paragraphs will start from the left side. As you can see, you can center it, but centering is not going to look good at all. And right alignment is, we don't write from right to left, we write from left to right. So that's why we use the left alignment. And definitely do not use justify or center. Okay, that really messes up your font. Now you'll see that in a journal article because they're trying to make everything uniform on the page. But for our type of writing, then we use the left alignment. Okay, and we're going to go to the paragraph tool. So in this paragraph tool, these are just the most common things. But you click on this little arrow here and it'll open up and it'll give you more information. Okay, so first of all, you need indents, right? So we're going to go over here to special. See under this part where it says indentation, we're going to leave these at 0. If we put any number in here, it's going to mess up the format because what it's going to do is it's going to indent from the margin. It'll be in the wrong way because you'll get double indentation. So where it says special, it says none right now. That means no indentation. We click on that first line and it defaults to 1/2 inch. And that's what you want. Your indents should be 1/2 inch, not 1 inch, not 3/4, not 1/4, 1/2 inch. All right, then spacing. Okay, now these are points. This is before or after the alignment of your font. So your font be here, and so you can align your font to actually be a little bit higher or a little bit lower. Okay, but you don't want that. You want 0. You want 0 before and 0 after. That way, your all of your formatting is going to be the same throughout the paper, and you don't have to worry about going back through all those paragraphs and cleaning that up. Okay, then line spacing should always be double. See what it said at right now? The default for Microsoft is 1.08. I have no idea why they set it at that. They think they're cool. They're not. So double space. And this preview box here will kind of give you an idea what that's going to look like. For example, if I put single, see it crunches the lines closer together. If I put 1.5, it's a little bit better, but still not double. Put double. What I do for a paper, if I'm trying to prepare a paper for an edit, let's say that I'm going to print a paper and I'm going to give it to somebody to proofread for me, then I may set it at 3. So I would put this on multiple, click on multiple, and it automatically sets it at 3 lines, but you can change that. If you need more room between the lines for annotations, corrections, then you can set that at a different rate. Okay, and then we're going to put it back at double. Then when you get to your references, okay, how do we format our references?
I think they're like reverse indented. They're not indented on the first line, but the second line they are. Is that right?
Yeah, you're pretty close. Thank you for volunteering. Okay, so we click here and it go down to the third one, which says hanging. Okay, so what that does, it's reverse indentation. For a paragraph, we indent in 5, and then all of the other lines below it are regular. They're regular. They go out to the margins. On hanging, then the first line is not indented, but the other lines under it are indented by 1/2 inch. This is a big time saver because you might be trying to, you might have 20 references and you're trying to figure out, okay, now how am I going to make this all hanging like it's supposed to? Okay, so that's how you'll do it. Just for that section, then you'll put hanging indent. So then your references will be hanging just like they're supposed to. Then when you hit the enter key to put your next reference, then it goes back and starts over again. So I will try to go back to the other paper and show you. Okay, so let me cancel this, and let me, if I can go back to that. Yeah, there it is. All right, so can you see the first paper now? So about the middle of the screen, you should see general teaching practices.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so I'm going to move down. This is kind of an example of your signature paper. So the formatting that we see in here will follow this. All right, so here, do you see what happened here? Okay, what happened with the references? Is that where it's supposed to be?
No, you should have used a page break, and so.
Yes, that's right, because in this case, what I'm thinking is that this student deleted a paragraph somewhere. Okay, and the student didn't realize that it was going to affect the formatting of the rest of the paper. So if we change this and put that page break in there, okay, and what's the page break? How do we do that again?
Control enter.
Yeah, control, hold down the control key and then hit the enter key once. Okay, so now we have a page break in there and the references are where they're supposed to be. This is an example of hanging indent. Okay, it looks like this student knew how to do it. Sometimes I'll find all kinds of little dots and squiggly marks and see where somebody's used the tab key a number of times, but this student did it the right way, so that's good. Okay, and so then we go through and I can see where a lot of space is used up unnecessarily. So that can all be cleaned up. So remember, when you're cleaning up a paper, turn this little sign on there that will show all of the marks, all of the keystrokes on the paper, because in that way you can figure out why the formatting went crazy. Okay, so that's pretty much for that. Did anybody have any particular question about Word that they'd like to know that will help them in their writing?
How about if I just call you when I run into a problem?
Sure, either call me or send me a message. That'll be cool. Okay, all right. So let me stop sharing. All right, so have you had a chance to look at that week by week schedule yet? Has anybody been able to do that? Excuse me, do that?
I have not looked at the schedule week by week, no.
Okay. Yeah,
I've seen it. That's about it.
it's a lot to try to remember. That's why I recommend to print it out. Put a big staple in a corner. That's how you can remember points, because then you can go to the week. Or if you have a question about week 4, then you turn pages until you get to week 4, and then it'll tell you what's needed for whatever assignment that you're working on.
All assignments are due on Sunday.
Yeah, they're all due on Sunday except for the last Saturday of the course.
Okay.
All of the National University courses end on a Saturday. Now,
And the discussion boards Thursdays, the initial post?
Yeah, it explains it in there. You'll post one post to begin with, and then you'll have a few days to respond. It's kind of hard to respond to somebody when you're the first one posting and there are no other responses on the board. It's kind of hard to do that. So we ask you to post your information, the answer to the prompt on one day, and then give a couple days so others have a chance to do their postings. And then you can look at the postings and you can ask questions, you can make comments, so that's good. And it's a good way to see what other people have on their mind, and it might help you with ideas that you need for your work, so you never know.
Is it a requirement that your posting and then your responses must be on separate days? Or like if I log in on Thursday and do my initial post and like 12 people already posted because they did theirs on Tuesday, can I do my responses at the same time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
just
you for
make
asking
sure
that.
that somebody
I've
can
stuck with
respond
that
to.
before.
Okay, I'm sorry, Zach, what did you say?
I just say that was a question I had too, because I've gotten stuck on that before, where somebody made some kind of rules in their syllabus that were contrary to pretty much everybody else's discussion rules, and it got me caught up one time.
Okay. Well, sometimes the wording will throw us off a little bit. For example, I think in this course it says that you have to do your original post by a certain day, and then your responses by a certain day. But I don't think it says in there that you have to wait a couple of days to respond. So
Yeah, this professor had it where you had to post one day, respond on a completely different day, and then your second response had to be on a completely different day.
Yeah.
And
well, it's possible that the professor got caught up in semantics. You know, English seems to be easy. Most of us have been speaking it all our life, practically, and we think we know what a word means, and lo and behold, it means something different. So it just depends on who's using the word. So it's good to question that. So if
it was my law professor too, so he was a bit of a stickler. The law professor was a bit of a stickler.
I'm sorry to hear that. There's certain things that we're supposed to do under contract. So we're supposed to do those things. But in areas where it's not going to affect you or me in my contract, then I pretty much leave you alone. You know, like I don't try to micromanage. There's no point in it. Okay, we don't do that to our kids in the classroom. We give them guidelines to follow. And, you know, if they need a little bit of nudging here and there, then we do that. But there's no point in beating up somebody over a small detail that really doesn't matter. Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Not a problem. If I make a comment or grade something and you don't particularly agree with it, then reach out to me, and I will explain why I graded something a certain way. And if you can prove that that your response is very reasonable and fits in with the assignment, then I have no problem making a change in the grade. Okay. So I'm not on any ego trip. Okay. I'm here helping you guys the best way that I can. Okay. I've been with National University for over 20 years now. So I think my methods work pretty good. I'm not perfect by any means.
I've got a question.
Yes.
So I just want to clarify the question that we're doing our research on, it's on our whole class, not one specific student, correct?
Okay, that I leave up to you. Okay. Some of the research articles that you work with out there will specify one individual. Okay. Others will specify maybe 3 or 4. Others will specify more, maybe a whole class or 2 classes. Okay, and it depends on what you're trying to research. What are you trying to find out? Our students with special needs are very, very unique. And sometimes you cannot put 2 of them together and try a research project. Okay, so you have to find a way to reach the student that you're trying to work with, either student or students. So you're going to have many research articles, like I say, that will just deal with one research subject, and others that deal with more. And through the course, you're going to find some different ways to work with different populations. Okay, so your research is going to be varied. There's no one simple answer for research. Okay, hopefully that helps.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Any other questions so far? Okay. All right. So I pretty much covered what I wanted to cover tonight. When you look on page 4, I keep passing over this, wanting to talk about it. And the syllabus, that's your how to write your method research question. You're going to see that some colors are used here. You have red, yellow, green, and blue. Okay, those are to help you to separate certain components of your research question. Okay, now I guess I'll just go ahead and just read these 3 points here. Think about the class of students you are teaching now or will be teaching next year, or the one that you will ideally teach. This is a Master's of Education and Special Education degree, focused on teaching, and it is geared toward practitioners, teachers. Remember, we're not psychologists, philosophers, or statisticians. Ask yourselves, what ages, grades, diagnoses, and subject matter, for example, English, math, etc., will I be teaching? When you build your 695 research question, you have to think about which teaching strategies would help you improve your teaching for the classroom that you identified under number 1. Now think about the IEPs that you will have to take data on for this year and the upcoming year. So that's going to be important. Your IEPs are pretty much going to guide you. Okay, so a typical IEP, if you haven't done any IEPs, then see if there's somebody in your cohort that can help you with that. Okay, because it's really, really important to set measurable goals. You don't just say, well, I want Johnny to get better in his reading, or I want Johnny to have fewer behavior incidents. Those are not measurable. So you have to figure out how you're going to measure the results. So you have to figure out what your baseline is, and then what you're going to do to teach a new skill, and then how you're going to measure whether your students learned that skill or not. Okay, so that's paramount in finding a research question. Okay, it says so you want to know more about, for example, which teaching strategies are effective in teaching a measurable behavior or skill for students with, and this green is covering up the words there, I can barely read it, with a particular disability in a certain grade. Okay, and then fill in the blanks. Okay, highlight the question, and pretty much you have your research question. Now, typically your research question might change 2 or 3 times during the course of this class. That's to be expected, because you're going to come up with an idea that is near and dear to your heart, and then you're going to find out that you don't have enough research material to back it up. So you're going to have to modify your question. So keep in mind that that modification process will go back and forth, and it may be several times before you get to your research question. Okay, so don't let that bother you. It's a normal process of research. And think about it. Have you ever gone on the internet to research a particular thing? You're doing your research, and then an article just grabs your attention, and it had nothing to do with what you're researching about. Wow, this is a great article. So you start reading it. See, this is what happens. Our mind can change as we're doing our research, and we may decide, wow, that other question that I got, I don't like it as good now. See, so you have that flexibility. And even as you get into SPD 696, then sometimes you can change that question as well. So I teach some sessions of 696 as well as 695. So I'm familiar with both of the courses and how they work. So I know that when I do 696, if somebody asks me if they can change their question, if they give me a valid reason for it, then it's not a problem. Okay. So the color coding just helps you to separate the basic ideas so that when you're doing your research question, you can format that the same way for each question that you come up with. And remember that when you come up with your question, you need to know why you have that particular question. Okay, what is the purpose of it? What are you trying to accomplish? And basically, you're trying to teach a new skill. Okay, so what grade level are you thinking of? Okay, because obviously you're not going to have the same goals for a 4-year-old that you're going to have for a 14-year-old. They're going to be different. So you have to match your research question to the age group that you're going to work with. Okay, and what kind of disabilities? Okay, so you can think of particular challenges that different children have in your classroom, and logically you're going to think, okay, well, I can't treat each child exactly the same because their challenges are different. So I have to figure out what's going to be good for this individual. So if you have a particular individual in the classroom that you want to work with and you want to teach a skill, then direct all of that attention to working with that student and how you're going to teach that skill and how you're going to measure those results. Okay, you're going to find that in this course, 695, you're going to have a bunch of brand new tools to work with. So don't throw any of the papers away that you do in this course. Save your course material because you'll be using some of these things in the years to come. And especially for your 696 class, you're going to be relying on many of the things that you did in this class to help you to get through the next class. So don't have a big bonfire and burn up everything that you learn in this class. Okay, any other questions? You guys have really good questions tonight, and I appreciate that. So hopefully during the course, if you have questions, you'll be sure to reach out to me. And I'll help you in any way I can. I can't write the papers for you. Sorry.
One last question. Sorry. Is your national email the best way to contact you?
Yeah, either one is fine because all of my emails go to the same place. So they're all forwarded. So I get between 300 to 400 emails a day. So I get kind of busy with.
Are you saying we need to stand out?
Okay. What was the last question?
I said, are you saying we need to stand out when we send you an email?
No. But do this for me if you would. I check all my emails. Okay, I can tell pretty quick if it's a student or not. But if you could put up in the header of your email, just say that you're in 695, SPD 695, then that'll help me to flag your email quicker.
Okay, great.
Okay, and then anytime that you leave a comment for me in the virtual office, then please send me an email and let me know that you posted a question. Okay, so then that way, when I go back into the course, I'll go straight there to the virtual office. Sometimes I get sidetracked because somebody will say, hey, I just turned in a paper. It's a couple of days late, but it's in. And then I'll just go straight to the paper and grade it. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoy the course. I call it a journey. So I hope you enjoy the journey. This is a journey with many legs to it. So this is just one leg of your long journey in your career as a teacher. And I hope you enjoy each and every part of that journey. It's remarkable. You'll have many things to look back on when your career is finished. And hopefully your career won't finish at a particular age. We should all be lifetime learners, and we should be there ready to teach even beyond our retirement years. I started teaching in the late 1960s. So I don't plan to give up anytime soon. Okay, any other questions?
Can I just ask, I'm just looking at this assignment list that you're talking about and waiting for my printer to respond and decide to print it. This week, we're not really writing a paper yet, right? We're just developing our question and then answering like a rationale for choosing that question. Or is there a paper that I'm not seeing?
Let's take a look here. Week number 1. You have your required readings, your learning activity. Okay. Yeah, basically you have your assignment number 1, which is your method research question. And then you really should get working on your city certificate. Okay. Normally it takes about 8 hours to get through that city training. So the sooner that you get through that, the better off you are. Some people are able to finish it quicker, some a little bit longer.
Okay, but in terms of a written submission, we have a discussion board and then just the development of our question.
Yes.
Okay.
So it says assignment 1 is your method research question, your RQ. Okay, so the focus of the course and the research question is to plan to teach a new, either a new behavior skill or a learning skill, but not about decreasing or increasing an undesired behavior. Okay. And then on the very next page, page 4, point 1, it says, list in order of importance to you 3 areas of professional interest to you and provide 2 sentences of rationale background for each. When you develop the list, keep in mind the importance of following the characteristics of an RQ question. And then there's some bullet items there. So, you know, and then it says to post everything in an APA format. So I will be looking for you to be citing something that you read. It could be in the course for the week, could be any of the articles there for the week, or it could be in a research article that you've pulled up. So I want to see at least 1 citation. Remember, a citation does not mean a word-for-word quote. Citation means that you're using a particular resource to back up something that you've said in your paper. Okay. Sometimes that gets confused. Citation is making the reference to where you got some information. A direct quote is you're directly quoting something. Yeah. And you want to remember to keep your direct quotes to a minimum. Usually you shouldn't have more than maybe 2 lines of a direct quote. If you quote something, make sure it's not more than two lines, and keep them down to a minimum. You guys are very capable of paraphrasing. Okay, as university students, you're good thinkers. You have the ability to do this. So don't feel like you don't know how to express an opinion that the author is making. You are very qualified to do that. So you make your references. You talk about the idea that an author gives you, and then just go ahead and use an in-text citation, which is telling us where you got that information. Okay. I see some students that half the paper is quotation, and that's not writing a paper. That's just quoting somebody else. Somebody else is doing the work. They're the ones writing the paper. We probably should get them enrolled in the course so they can get credit for those citations. Okay. So if you think that you can't do it, please think again. We have a writing lab that will help with that. I know in my earlier years, when I was in high school, my last teacher was so set on everything being in direct quotes. And that's the improper way of teaching somebody to write a paper. It doesn't help you. It doesn't teach you anything. It just teaches you how to copy words from somebody else. So we're adults, we're professionals. So let's paraphrase as much as we can, okay? If you struggle with that, then make an appointment with the Writing Center. There's references to it in the classwork. And they will help you with that. They will give you some ideas on making those paraphrasing. And also the publication manual, APA, has a section in there that helps with that issue. It's a big issue. Many people have problem with that. So you should have the confidence to be able to do it. I have confidence in you that you can do it. So don't rely too much on direct quotes. Okay. All right. Well, I think I've kept you long enough tonight, so I'll let you go. You guys got an advantage. You're there in California. I'm here in Florida. It's after 10 p.m. right now here where I'm at. So I'm pretty much fizzled out for the night. But I really enjoyed having you folks here tonight. And hopefully I was able to give you some helpful information to get you started. And remember to reach out when you're having difficulties. Let me help you. Okay. All right. If there are no other questions, then we'll go ahead and end. And I will finish the recording on this and turn it into a YouTube and put it in the virtual office. Okay. So
Do we meet is it every Monday at 5:30 or do we not meet every week or?
No, we more than likely will not meet every week. Okay. So the option is there to do that if we need the meeting. For example, if enough students are having a particular issue with a particular assignment and just can't get it figured out, then I'll call a meeting and we can go over that particular assignment. Okay, you're muted.
Oh, sorry, my son came in the room, so I'm talking to him. But got it. Thank you.
Okay.
I have a quick question. Does anybody else having any issues opening the ebook through the Dart?
I'm not aware of any. Is anybody else having a problem with that?
I had a problem today. I had to go to the student concierge and I sent them an email with a screenshot and they got, oh, shit, sorry. They got it fixed within like an hour.
Okay. Yeah, you might have to reach out to somebody to fix it. One thing that happens sometimes is that the cache on the computer, the CACHE, gets overloaded. So I believe if you press Control and F5 a couple of times, that usually will clear the cache and make some of the problems go away. It doesn't work on each and every computer that I've tried, but it works on many. Okay, so sometimes that's all it takes. Okay, did somebody else have a question?
I have a quick question, Professor.
Yes.
For the CD training, we just do the part 1, right? We don't do the part 2?
You do both of the parts that are listed there. You're going to get a report card on part 1 and part 2, and then you're going to get a certificate of completion.
Okay,
So you're going to have 3 pages, and those 3 pages are what you need to upload for that assignment.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, and if you need a screenshot of what that looks like, just let me know and I'll send you one.
Okay, speaking of that, the examples when do you plan on sending them to us?
Yeah, I'm that particular one, as I mentioned before, I'm not sure if I'm going to use that one, but I will have some other samples.
Okay,
Okay, so that way it'll give you an idea of what a paper should look like. And like I say, they're not perfect, but that's okay because we're not actually submitting the articles to a journal right now. If you were going to, then the paper would literally have to be perfect.
okay. And those samples are going to be for the week 1 for the question.
If I'm not mistaken, there's a sample for week 1 already on the web page. If not, I'll make sure that we get one in there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, thank your family members for allowing you to have the time to come online this evening. It's a challenge with all the things that are going on, but we certainly appreciate your efforts and we hope that you enjoy the class.
Thank
All right.
you.
All right.
Good night.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good
And
night.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. We'll see you next.
Thank you.